Good morning everybody, it's Belinda, Creative Director of Chez B Property Styling. I thought I'd come to you today and talk to you about weird shaped rooms and how difficult they can sometimes be to style. I actually have a weird shaped room in my own house. This is my lounge room that I renovated a couple of years ago. It's still a work in progress and my whole house is still a work in progress. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was the fact that it's about working with the spaces and not necessarily fighting it. I know for the first 2 years of moving into this home, I did fight it. I was going to widen the room, I was going to build out onto the veranda, because as you can see over here, I have a fireplace and I love fireplaces and they actually anchor a room. And what I, in an ideal world, would love is to have two sofas facing each other, beautiful rug and coffee table in the middle, looking out onto the fireplace, and then on the end having one or two armchairs. Unfortunately, my room has so many openings. It actually has 5 openings in this living area, and so without closing off walls or blocking doorways with furniture, it's just impossible to work it that way. So with a lot of trial and error and a light bulb moment a couple of years ago, we decided to turn it into 2 sitting areas, which actually works really well. So as you can see, I've got a set of French doors over here, which goes out onto a veranda, which is an outdoor eating area. You don't want to block that with your furniture. So what we've created here is one living area with a central ottoman. And then we've got 2 chairs here, which I'll swing the camera around shortly and show you. And then we've just got one other chair over here. If I was to put 2 here, too many chairs, it would just look too much. So this can comfortably seat 8 people, this room. It's a room that we don't use all the time. It's quite often a space where I'll come and read on a Saturday afternoon. I love it in the middle of winter. I guess this would be called my winter room. And it's where I'll sit on the sofa, which is behind the camera, and put the fire on and just read. And it's a great room for Friday nights when you finish the busy week and you want to have a glass of wine. So talking about difficult spaces, this is a difficult space. And what you have to remember when you have buyers coming into your place and you're trying to sell your property is that less than 10% of the population can actually visualize the room that you are presenting to sell. So if you've got clutter in that room, or if it's totally vacant and there's no furniture in there, people are going to say, 90% of the population are going to say, what am I going to do with this space? I have no idea. I cannot visualize living in it. And that's where property styling comes into its own, is that you are presenting your property in the best way possible, that you're creating a buyer dream so that buyers come in and they say, wow, I can just imagine myself living here. And that's what property styling is all about. It's about getting your money back on your major investment, because you want to actually appeal to the most number of buyers and sell your home as quickly as possible. If your other half, from a point of interest, if your other half is hopeless at taking photographs of you, that is an indication that they are not visual people. And it's a pretty scary fact that only 10% of the population are visual. I'm currently helping a client who's moving into a brand new $1 million apartment tomorrow. We went to the apartment last week because we needed to make sure that the sofa that she's chosen was going to fit into the apartment. And when I walked in, my immediate reaction was, why is there only one space to put the sofa, which happens to be right in front of the glass sliding door that goes out onto the veranda? And I questioned, did someone who's not visual actually design this apartment? Because the only solid wall in that living area is where the TV has to go. And so this client's sofa has to sit in front of a sliding door. There's no solid wall behind it. It can't sit in the middle of the apartment. And so visual elements are really important when you're looking at selling your property, and it's just it's a no-brainer for me because it just comes naturally to me. I'm one of that 10% of the population, and there are a lot of women that tend to be more visual. That doesn't mean that people don't have other skills. They're either auditory or they're kinesthetic. They're touchy-feely and they like to touch things, they like to feel things. But the reality is we all have all those traits, but predominantly, if you're a visual person predominantly, you only represent less than 10% of the population. And that's where styling comes into its own. So with this room, after a lot of trial and error and doing my head in because I wanted to put a sofa there, I wanted to put a sofa there, I really love symmetry. I thrive on symmetry, and I couldn't have the sofas marrying up with each other. And so I made a decision that what we did was create two living spaces. So we have two ottomans, which are big, large ottomans, which I use as coffee tables. I switch this out a lot. I've got a lot of books. I love books. I feel books really create warmth in the space. Sometimes I put a tray down. If I'm entertaining, I'll have a tray on the ottoman so that people can pop their drinks down. But I have lots of side tables in the room for people to use. And I love this room. I actually wish I used it a lot more than I do. It's a work in progress, and I'd actually love to share with you what it used to look like. Sometimes when you're renovating, you can actually forget how much you've done. So I've still got to do the big stuff. We're doing the kitchen next year. We've got 3 bathrooms to do, but sometimes I go back onto Google and I Google our address and I look at the house and what it was like before we bought it, and I'm thinking, yeah, I've actually done quite a lot. So I love renovating. It's just part of me. I personally can't live in a house that's finished, even though I whinge and complain sometimes about the fact that it's never ending, and I feel like I'm always putting my hand in my pocket to decorate it. I haven't finished this room. If you see over here, I'll just turn the camera around. There's a set of French doors over there, and my plan is to put some beautiful drop curtains there, but I'm holding off on that until we do the kitchen, which is in another room, because I just don't want to have to take them all down. So I'm waiting for that. Down here, I've got my Cocoa Republic sofa, so that actually faces the fireplace. And then around here, I've got some chairs and a beautiful French provincial mirror. I love mixing old and new. That would be my look. That doesn't mean that I style like that, but I do love mixing old and new personally. I love sitting or looking at something and thinking, where have you been? What's your history? Tell me your story. And it's a really lovely thing for me. When it comes to styling, it's quite different. I tend to use I use a lot of upmarket products, but really good quality products, because that's my thing. But yeah, no, this is a long, narrow room, and we've had to make it work. So what you need to remember when you're selling your home is that there are important rooms. You don't have to stage every room in your home to sell it, but the important rooms are weird shaped rooms, because buyers are just going to say, what do I do with this space? Your kitchen, your bathrooms, your living areas, which includes your outdoor areas, and your master bedroom. And they're the most important rooms for you to present to buyers so that you can appeal to the greatest number of people who want to buy your home. So ask me any questions on Facebook about anything you'd like to know about weird shaped rooms, and I'd be happy to give you some ideas and offer some suggestions. But that's my weird shaped room, and I fought it, and then about 3 years ago I just thought, Belinda, just embrace it, just work with it, don't knock any walls out, just embrace it. So there you have it. Have a great day, everybody. Chat to you soon. Bye bye.